Hello everybody, we are the Geeks and the Genets. I am Enzo, this is my forever co-host Jump. And today, to wrap up our Halloween week, we will instill you with existential dread at the thought of future technology taking over the world.
ChatGPT is not on here.
But yeah, we're talking about a classic, the first Terminator, directed by James Cameron, and obviously, you guys already know, it stars Arnold Schwarzenegger as the titular character.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the beginnings of one of the most badass female characters, or no, characters in general, in all of cinema, which is Sarah Connor.
Yeah, like, I loved it when 80s kind of just gave us the picture of, like, yes, we would like to have a strong woman in our lives.
Yeah. And of course, Linda Hamilton plays her so well, like, I can't see anyone else play her, even though other people have played her, such as, what's the name of the actress for...
Emily Clark. Emily Clark.
Yeah, Emily Clark and Lena Headey in the one series on AXN. If you remember that channel.
Oh my God, the Sarah Connor Chronicles or some shit. Yeah.
Wasn't the best in my opinion, but that's fine.
Like as Terminator continued, it just kind of went.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, this entire franchise kind of goes down the well after 2. So there's that. Kind of.
Like 2 was like the best from all of them.
Yeah. So was it, but there was none after that. What am I talking about? There was 3, there was Salvation, and then there was Genesis and Dark Fate. Anyway, but yeah. Do you know can you guess the budget of this movie?
$100,000.
$6 million.
$6 million. Is that a lot?
That's a lot. I mean, not a lot considering the fact that for Terminator 2, the studio gave Cameron $100 million. Yeah. This movie was very successful. And if you guys already know the premise, the Terminator is sent from the future to the past to kill Sarah Connor because she is about to have John Connor. And it's a very iconic opening scene where a naked giant Austrian man just rolls up to these punks and murders them. You're like, Jesus Christ.
I thought the opening scene was like the hunter killer things running over skulls, and there's like apocalyptic world.
Oh yeah, the grimmest future you can think of, like where the roads are paved with human skulls, and you're like, what the fuck is this? Shit.
Yeah. Like it's a blacked out sky, and all you see is like purple like beams.
Yeah.
In the sky as people who get blown up. I'm like, yeah, it was a very surreal moment, and I love that scene, and I love that world. I wish we had more movies about that.
You wish you had that world?
Huh?
I don't want to.
No, I'm not saying I don't want to be in that world. I want to see more of that side of the story. Because we got it with Salvation, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, they didn't even have a lot of purple lasers, so you're like, oh.
And then Genesis was about to get it right, and they were like, let's go back in time because we want to meet Emily Clark.
And then Dark Fate happened, and anyway, I do like the difference when you see how Kyle Reese, who's played by 80s action star Michael Biehn, and the Terminator, like Kyle Reese is barely scraping by, while the Terminator is easily getting weapons, getting ready for the hunt, while poor Kyle Reese is being like, I have nothing. I have no clothes, I have no weapons, I have this makeshift shotgun, and that's about it.
Yeah. By the way, this distant future is like 6 years from now.
Yeah.
It was like 2029.
You know, with the way our days are shaping up, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest.
I don't want that. But like,
I'm not asking for it either.
I'm not asking for it, but like, man, yeah, it is kind of bleak. But yeah, like, as you said, Kyle is kind of just like struggling, had to get hobo pants, while Arnold punches a hole through this one punk, which was a really cool scene.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of animes kind of got inspiration from that, because that was the first time I ever saw it.
Yeah.
Where he just punches a dude and there's just a hole in him, and then
he does
like Frieza style.
he does what Superman does to Joker in Injustice, and you're like, oh Jesus Christ, fuck.
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, that's just so cool. And then Arnold looks so cool with his punk clothes.
Yeah, and like he's kind of like the Winter Soldier. Even comes with that eerie theme of just like a beat dropping. You're like,
Oh yeah, the gong 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 gong. I'm like, oh, so good, so fucking good. But I forgot that this was before they went into instrumental. It was synths
yeah,
when they did the yeah the main theme.
yeah. And like viewing it at first glance, when you see Sarah Connor, like if you this is your first time watching the first Terminator, you're like, I don't believe this is the future Sarah Connor that we hear in myths from calories. Like if you're starting with Terminator 1, you're like, are you sure this is one of the most badass female characters of all time? But by the end, you're like,
I get it.
yeah. And
Like, dude, yeah, go on.
it makes sense that she's this helpless person who's worrying because she's like, why are there so many people being killed with my name? That's strange. This man obsessed with me, or something else happening. I don't know. I don't want to think about it. And you're like, you best not think about it because it will fill you with existential dread, and we don't want that.
Yep. And yeah, like both are racing towards finding the right Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
Well, Kyle has a bit of an advantage because he actually knows what she looks like.
Yeah. While while the Terminator's just taking out poor random civilians, you're like, Jesus Christ. Oh, that's brutal.
The Terminator's just going through a process of elimination. I was like, okay.
You know, it's like, I need to find Sarah. Sarah who? Sarah Connor. They're like, that's a common name, sir.
Yeah, just like a shit ton of Sarah Connors, and I was like, I guess let's start with this one. It's just poor mother of two in her 30s who just gets decked in the face. I was like, oh.
Oh shit. And then you meet up in this club where everything is racing towards the head while Kyle and the Terminator get there, and you hear iconic lines such as, come with me if you want to live, and
Which, by the way, we all kind of fucked up because we were like, oh, that's Arnold's line. It's like, no, it's not.
it's Calories' line. And Calories and Sarah Connor are very relatable since they're just the average people being like, we're being hunted down by this thing that cannot die, and I am scared. You're more scared, I am equally scared. Let's get the fuck out of here.
But like, you gotta appreciate James Cameron on this one because like, when you think about it, when you release this film, it's more of like a slasher movie.
Yeah.
You ever saw like it's just a dude with a high-powered weapon, but it's still a slasher movie. Main girl runs away with other dude, while this thing, unstoppable force, comes towards them and tries to kill them. But then you get this plot underneath it where, hey, I came from the future. Your son. That's the thing. It's not you are the leader. No. Your son is the leader. I'm like, there's a whole other fucking story.
She's like, but I'm not even pregnant. She's like, oh, that's fine.
I'm not pregnant. And like, where's the dad? Did he run off on me or some shit? No, he dies in the end of this movie. Like, we get introduced to this whole world. Just imagine if you were a kid in 1984 and then you're just like, there's more story.
Right.
Give me more story.
It's like starting with episode 4 all over again. I don't understand these sci-fi movies.
I love it though. I love that because they made an entire universe and people to look forward to. When it came to the storytelling, I was like, that is really good, and that's great marketing too. Because now you pretty much had like a whole trailer inside of the first fucking movie.
Right. And again, Arnold Schwarzenegger chasing them is pretty scary because again, he's already this big guy, and you're like, Jesus Christ, you are huge. And you have the music and the technology, and like even when he's repairing himself with like the eye. Like you obviously can tell the difference between him and prosthetics, but you're still like, that is uncanny and that is freaky. Jesus.
Yeah, like him like taking out his like eyeball and then like doing his own like repairs because he gets busted up.
Yeah.
And then that one scene where they're in the truck and the guy's like, "Hey, we should get the hell out of here," and Arnold just, I need to see it's like, get out. And it's like, ooh,
get out. And then Kyle and Sarah taken to the police station where they're like, you're obviously crazy, Kyle, because he's going about things that don't exist yet. And they're like, huh, that's the case. this is a text worthy case. I'm gonna get a Nobel Prize for this. And you're like, you're an asshole, first of all. But
Yeah.
see, you do kind of sound crazy, Kyle. You can't really blame them. And they're like, this thing can't be that bad. Nothing's more bulletproof than a 12 gauge. And you see Arnold just come into the police station and be like, where's Sarah Connor? Like, you can't disturb them. I'll be back.
Well, actually, he came out as a friend. Friend of Sarah Connor. Like,
And
I would
then
like to see it.
they're just planting these lines that later on will get either very badass or just very repetitive. Of like, you don't have to say them every time. God damn it.
That's very true. It's very fucking true.
Yeah, but yeah, Arnold drives into the police station and takes out almost all of them, including Lance Henriksen. You're like, ah, well, I guess I'll see you in Aliens. Bye.
Oh, right. He's what's his name? Bishop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's again just seeing practical effects. Like, I don't want to sound like a grumpy old man, but like they really don't make them like they used to, with the mixture of practical and CGI. Like, I know this was done by the Sam Winston company who does practical effects very well. Like, they were supposed to do Jurassic Park until CGI came aboard, and they're like, all right, we'll do a mix of both, and that's where you see their work. And like, I don't know if they still make help movies today, but they still like do classes, I think, which makes sense.
Okay. That's good.
They have their own museum too,
Okay.
which makes sense. They have their own museum of like a T-Rex head, Terminator stuff. And you're like, oh, that's pretty sweet.
I need to go there.
Yeah.
Like, as much as I want to see a real T-Rex skeleton, I would love to see the T-Rex that was part of my childhood.
Yeah.
But yeah, by the way, I know we see Arnie in like a lot of action movies, and sometimes it does get like, yeah, we get it. He's the hero who shoots up the bad guys. But when he plays the bad guy, where you just have this, again, existential dread, where you're like, this unstoppable force is coming towards me, and you could see him going through a lot of cops, where you would think this is probably the safest place you can be. No, it ain't. And it's a mixture of really badass, and also I'm like, how are you gonna kill that?
Right.
Right. This thing's not dying, and it's taking out cops left and right.
Yeah, it's taking like M16 bullets to the chest and still going like, what? Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he's just blowing everyone away. And it's just in the most coolest outfit. He has like a leather jacket on with cargo pants and boots.
Again, shades at night too. You're like, that's impractical, but God, does it look so cool on you.
True.
Yeah.
True.
And as once again, Cal and Sarah run away, like they start to get to know each other and start to talk about their past. Well, Kyle's past, and you learn from him that he has like a picture of Sarah, and you're like, huh, I wonder. You get it from John Connor, but where did John Connor get it? And you do get your
From his mom.
From his mom, but you're like, I guess you're just memorizing Sarah's face. It's not like you're falling in love with her, because that would compromise the future. Huh. And then you like feelings escalate, and they do have sex, and you're like, wait, so you're fuck. What
He
if
is the father.
But if
So,
you're
yeah.
you're not around though, shit.
Yeah. His dad never existed until that. I don't know either. But I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
By the way, we get a really cool scene like in his flashback where he's like reliving everyday life. HQ, which is pretty much the sewers.
Yeah.
And you see kids like watching TV, but then they pan to what's behind them, and it's just a TV that's on fire. Like, it's a horrible place. They're eating gruel. They're trying to eat rats.
Oh my god.
It's just a horrible situation.
They're ambushed too by Terminators.
Yeah, like the dogs can pick up what Terminators smell like for some reason. I don't know how. And it just takes out the entire force. And we get this really cool shot of like it with a Gatling gun going towards Kyle Reese, and its eyes just peering out. I'm like, that is a fucking sick shot. And that's not Arnie either.
Yeah.
It's a completely different dude.
Yeah. Again, it hits differently when compared to the other movies where it's just like, oh, that's obviously CGI and that doesn't really have an effect on me. Whereas this one's like practical effect of a guy with red eyes, and you're like, I am terrified out of my mind. Shit.
Right, right. Oh,
Uh,
such a good scene in my opinion.
but the Terminator does find them in the motel, and they have to run. But Cal is like fatally wounded, and you're like, oh, that's why he's not there. Fuck. And then we
Yeah,
do get that gasoline chase scene where Cal gets to blow up the truck, and like, if this is not your first Terminator movie, you're like, they don't die that easily though. Even when
I love that where he's like films like it. I don't know how they did this effect where the person was getting out of the truck while it was on fire.
yeah,
Um, kudos to the guy who sat in the blown up truck.
yeah, impressive stunt, but seeing the metal body just stand up, and you're like, that's where the 6 million went. Holy shit.
Yeah, and like sure you could say that the stop motion was a little janky, but it's a product of its time. Just that was the best that they could have, and it's still good and stands to this day, in my opinion.
The only thing that doesn't age well is when it's behind them and you see the CGI, and you're like, yeah, that's
Yeah, it's clunky and just like
yeah,
going towards them. I'm like, yeah, that's a little bit jarring.
yeah. But they're surrounded by the Terminator, and Cal decides to take a hit for the team, and you're like, oh shit, sorry.
Yep.
And he blows the thing up, but the thing still goes after Sarah Connor, and she has to crush it to death. You're like, she's like, you've been terminated. You're like, oh, sick. That's a sick line.
But it was a little bit of a sudden death for Kyle, like which kind of made it real.
Yeah.
Or he puts the pipe bomb inside of the Terminator, blows up. He rolls backwards, but because of the blast, it does kill him.
Yeah. No
And
last
you just see
words.
he's just dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, no last words, no heroic. Well, it was a heroic, but like, it didn't build up as if it was.
Yeah.
It just felt like him in desperation, just trying to get away from the thing.
Yeah. And then Sarah sees the body bag, and you're like, shit. And then you go to a recording of her telling John what's about to happen. And like, she stops at the gas station, and a boy takes a picture of her. I'm like, oh, okay. And you just see her stand up with like her and the revolver, and you're like, shit, this is the beginning. And I am down for it. And the best thing you can do after that is just put on Terminator 2, and you're like, I'm good.
Yes, and that's it. That's all you need.
Yeah. But this is a classic. Like, these two movies are the peak of the franchise, to be honest, because it goes downhill from 3, goes more downhill from Salvation, even though I know you like it. Really goes down here with Genesis, and really stops at Dark Fate, because I don't think, since Dark Fate was such a catastrophe at the box office, I think it stopped the franchise in general. But I know Netflix is making an anime of Terminator, so we'll see where
I
that
would
goes.
say, yeah, we'll see where that goes. Like,
Yeah.
please don't read on anything. Don't deviate from the source material. Like I do like it that Sarah Connor. Like, I do like that storyline where Arnold kind of goes back, way back. It was a kid,
Yeah.
and he just takes care of her from there. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But the entire story itself kind of just like, hey.
That's Genesis, where John Connor is a Terminator. You're like, what?
Yeah.
So I don't get the point of protecting Sarah Connor if it all goes to shit. Oh, fuck.
Right? I feel like the best way to just is just like don't send Kyle Reese at all.
Right? But yeah, what would you rate the first Terminator movie?
I guess this one is solid. Not solid. I'll give this one an 8.5. Like it is a really good it is somewhat of a slasher.
Yeah.
Not really slasher, but it's a thriller.
It's definitely a
Like,
horror movie vibes.
Yeah. It gives out like these 80s horror movie vibes, and I feel like it's a pretty appropriate thing to watch for Halloween.
Yeah.
Like, and I do love the effects. It's just a shame that like this is such good storytelling. Okay, I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10. It's such good storytelling, but it's wasted as soon as we pass 2.
Yeah.
You know.
Huh. I'll give us an out of 10. It's a pretty good movie. It's a pretty good start to two movies. Like Instinct makes me go a trilogy. Not really. More just
No.
a duology. It's the best I can give.
Yeah.
Even though, well, to be honest, 3 isn't bad. It's just mediocre.
Yeah.
4 is also just alright, and obviously the last two are just like pretty terrible, to be honest.
Yeah, it's dog shit.
Yeah. But yeah, that's been our video for the Terminator, and we have another AI centric movie coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, if you like our videos, please give them a like, subscribe to the channel, and ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. We're also on Spotify and TikTok. TikTok to see our best and funniest moments. Spotify to hear us on the go. We also react to trailers on TikTok. I am not in any social media, but this guy is.
Oh, you can find me at JomJ on Instagram and his account.
And until the next video, we'll see you then. Bye, everybody.
Ciao.